Hi, in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at setting MPD, that's the music player daemon, to use Pipewire, and to set MPV to use alsa and Pipewire instead of pulse audio. So to set MPD to use Pipewire, it's really simple. In your mpd.config, all you do is set audio type Pipewire. So if I come across to my config in Emacs, I can show you this a bit better. Config MPD, and I'll just increase the text here. So you can see all you need to do is set audio underscore output type Pipewire and then give it a name, and I'm just giving it the name Pipewire. And with MPD, I don't think you can actually reload the config, so what you need to do is quit MPD, do a pkill MPD and restart it again, and it will pick up the changes. And if I come across to the terminal and open my MPD client, which is ncnpc, and come across to the outputs tab by pressing 8, you'll see here it's now set to use Pipewire. By default, I had it set to use pulse audio before, and what happens then is it uses pulse audio and then it goes through to Pipewire. But if you set the output type to Pipewire, I think it actually reduces the latency quite a bit. So I think I was checking in some tools, and I think with pulse audio the latency was 60 milliseconds, and on Pipewire it's 20 milliseconds. So that's basically how you set MPD to use Pipewire. Just edit your mpd.conf file and set the audio output type and Pipewire and give it a name. I've called mine Pipewire. You could call it Pipewire server or whatever. So that's how you set MPD to use Pipewire. Now we're going to have a look at MPV. And what I'll also do is actually go through some notes on getting Pipewire set up, because what we're going to be doing here is, let me see here. What you can do with MPV is specify audio device to use for the output. Now, by default, I don't think MPV has got support for Pipewire yet. So what happens at the moment is, by default, it's going to use pulse audio and then send it to Pipewire. So if we have a look at the output devices that we can use, if I come across to the terminal, and we do that by running MPV, MPV -- audio device equals help. And if I scroll up here, what you'll see is we've got auto, we've got pulse alsa output, so this is built-in audio output. And we've got alsa, we've got some other stuff down here. We've got alsa jack, we've got alsa OSS, and then we've got alsa Pipewire, which is the one we're going to be using. So there's a couple of choices we've got through here, but the only one that I can see that goes to sort of Pipewire directly is the alsa Pipewire one here. These are all different settings for alsa, using HDMI, stuff like that. You've also got settings down here for jack and SDL. So what we're going to be doing is actually using alsa Pipewire instead of pulse audio and Pipewire. Now the way we do that is we actually need to make sure we've got some stuff set up in Pipewire to do this, and I did a guide a while ago on installing Pipewire on Ubuntu 22.04, and this was to actually fix an issue with MPV stuttering and having the audio and video going out of sync with WebM files. So there's a bug with MPV where WebM files will go out of sync if you're using pulse audio as the as your default sound server. So installing Pipewire actually fixed that issue, but what I wanted to do was get MPV to use Pipewire with alsa instead of pulse audio. And the way we did that was by going through this guide, and the one thing you actually need to do is copy the Pipewire examples alsa conf to etc alsa conf.d. So you can just basically copy this command and run it in the terminal, and then I think you need to do sudo ld config. So if you've got Pipewire set up, just make sure you copy the for alsa clients to be configured to output via Pipewire, run the command to copy the configuration file. So that's the one step we need to do to actually get alsa to output to Pipewire. And once we've done that, what we can do is we can either run MPV on the command line and specify the audio device, but we don't want to do that every time. We want to put it in our config. So if I have come across to my config down here, what we're going to be doing is putting audio-device equals alsa Pipewire in our MPV config. But we could also run that on the command line with the -- option. So if I come across, if I was to run MPV -- audio device equals alsa Pipewire and then the name of the video, that will be how you specify the device on the command line, but you don't want to do that every time. So what we're going to do is actually put that in our MPV config. So MPV, let me just increase the text size here. So, sorry. So this is my MPV config, and the way this works is, first of all, what we have here is the name of the profile. So this is the profile here called HW decode, and we have that listed here in the brackets. So what happens is all the options below this will actually be loaded as a default. So down here what I have is audio device equals alsa Pipewire. So what this is going to do is it's going to use alsa and then send it to Pipewire instead of using pulseaudio and Pipewire. And this also reduces the latency and the CPU usage. So what I'm going to do is actually open up a video. So what I've got here is Elephant's Dream, which is the first video created by Blender Studios in about 2006, I think. And it's open source in the public domain, so there's no issue playing it. So what I'm going to do is actually open this up, and what you'll see here is audio output alsa, and it's using GPU hardware decoding as well.
What's next? You'll see. Hurry now! Listen.
So that was just a quick demo of what the audio sounds like with alsa and Pipewire, and you're not going to have any issues with just like if you were using pure alsa, you can run into issues with not being able to output multiple stuff at once. But because this is going from alsa to Pipewire, we can play multiple things, bits of audio at the same time without any issue. So that's how we set MPV to use alsa and Pipewire. Basically, when we installed Pipewire, the only thing we initially needed to do was to copy this configuration file to this alsa directory. And once we've done that, and you need to sort of reboot after setting up Pipewire for the first time, that will allow alsa to go to Pipewire, and we can basically bypass using pulseaudio on MPD and MPV. So those are the quick tips on how you get that set up. So for MPD, it's really easy. You just edit your .config mpd.conf file and set the type to Pipewire, and then give it a name like Pipewire Sound Server or Pipewire. And then obviously you need to quit MPD and restart it to pick up the changes, because I don't think there's a way you can get MPD to reload the configuration file. I may be wrong, but I couldn't find a way. And for MPV, what we did was, first of all, we listed the audio devices with MPV -- audio - device equals help. There we go, that's the command. And as you can see here, that's giving us audio, pulse, alsa, alsa jack, alsa OSS, alsa Pipewire. Now this may be, as you can see here, you got multiple configurations, but also for things like 5.1s audio and stuff like that. I'm not sure if this alsa Pipewire only works with sort of like 2-channel audio. So if you've got a more complicated sort of setup, I'm not sure if that's going to cause any issues. But you could always just use pure alsa if you wanted to not use pulse audio. But that's the only option I can find here listed for Pipewire, is the alsa Pipewire, which I think is better than using pulse audio and Pipewire. So that's how we found the audio devices, and then all we needed to do was add that into our configuration file, and that's .config mpv.conf, and we just specified audio - device equals alsa Pipewire. So that's all we need to do. Audio - device equals alsa Pipewire in our MPV. And again, when you actually run MPV, what you should see listed here is alsa, but what it's actually doing is it's using alsa and then sending it to Pipewire. So that's the setup you've got to do. The only thing additionally for alsa and Pipewire is copying the configuration file. One thing I should note is I did a video recently on using EasyEffects with Pipewire applications, and I was using the Flatpak version of EasyEffects. What I found was that the CPU usage could sometimes go as high as 25 to 37%, which is extremely high, because if you're using MPV to play a video, typically, depending on the type of video, you're going to get CPU usage of maybe 10 to 20%. So having audio effects that use more CPU usage, in some cases almost double the CPU usage of MPV while you're actually playing a video, is really going to tax your CPU. This may just be specific to the Flatpak version not integrating properly, or it may be something to do with my setup, but it's just something I thought I'd mention. So if you're using EasyEffects, have a look at the CPU usage using top, just to make sure it's not taxing your system too much. So that's basically all you need to do to get MPV and MPD to use Pipewire instead of pulse audio. In MPD's case, you can set it to use Pipewire completely. With MPV, you need to set it to use alsa and Pipewire, which is probably, in my opinion, better than using pulse audio and Pipewire, because you're going to get lower latency. And to me, the audio sounded a lot better just using pure alsa and Pipewire. And having a look, when I was checking stuff with EasyEffects, you could actually see the latency of the audio signal. And when I was using pulse audio with both MPD and MPV, the latency this was 60 milliseconds. Using Pipewire, it dropped down to 20 milliseconds. So that's a good advantage of doing this. So I'll put links to all this under the video, but it's really easy to do. Change that in MPD, check the audio devices in MPV, and you should have also Pipewire listed. If you haven't, copy that configuration file, and you may need to reboot or something for it to pick that up, but you'll then be able to specify the alsa Pipewire backend in MPV instead of using the default pulse audio and Pipewire setup. So I'll put links to all this under the video. And again, the last thing, as I said, was I did notice really high usage with the EasyEffects. So this may be specific to the Flatpak version. So if you've installed it from your distro's repo, if you're on Arch or something, it may be fine. It may be better integrated, but the Flatpak version does seem to have high CPU usage. And if you Google EasyEffects CPU, you will come across some links mentioning that there's high CPU usage, and people are sort of speculating whether it's GTK4 related, or because Flatpaks don't integrate with the system quite as well as maybe Snaps or a native Deb package. So that's all for now, and that's how you can get rid of pulse audio and MPD and MPV. Unfortunately, Firefox, I think, doesn't have support directly for Pipewire yet, so it still uses pulse audio. I'm not sure about Chromium, whether that can use Pipewire directly or if it goes through pulse audio first. But you can always have a look on the Arch wiki and have a read up on Pipewire. And one thing to note is I did actually do a video on how you can change the layout of the Arch wiki, because if I open this in Chromium, okay, you see by default the Arch wiki has got this really narrow layout, which is really annoying on the desktop, and I actually did a video about changing that somewhere or other. Yeah, Arch wiki removed the large margins with Firefox CSS. So on Firefox you can use the user content.css file to put in CSS rules that will apply to a specific domain or a specific website, and you can then alter things like the page margins. So that's why I use Firefox to read the Arch wiki, because I can get rid of those really annoying margins. So that's all for now. I'll put links to everything under the video and hope that helps out.